In today's episode, we're going to talk about the law of opposites, which is the fundamental system you need to learn in Ayurveda in order to find what diet, lifestyle practices, and movement is best for you. So the first thing you need to know before we get into today's class is what dosha is out of balance for you. And of course, we always recommend that you go to a practitioner because there's so many nuances here. If you've been following along with our training, I recommend watching the past 2 episodes so you can find which dosha is out of balance for you. You can also take our free dosha quiz, which is linked below. Okay, now into today's episode. Learning the law of opposites, I like to call this the intuitive template because we literally take this structure and we apply it to everything that we know and we do in our lives. That's the beauty of Ayurveda. And the second beautiful thing about it is that you're already doing it. That's how intuitive this science is. These are practices that you're already living. Now you just need to focus in on them and watch them expand so you can continuously heal. Okay, get your notebook, pen and paper out. This is really important. I'm going to go through each of the doshas and tell you which elements you need to bring into your life. And then from there, we're going to give you practical recommendations for each of the doshas. So if you have a kapha imbalance, kapha meaning too much earth and water element, well, let's think about that. What do those qualities manifest as earth and water? It's dense, it's heavy, and it's moist. Think about that. Physiologically, that is respiratory issues, mucus, could be weight gain, could be feeling lethargy, stubbornness, sadness, depression. What happens when we are feeling stuck and slow and heavy in our lives? We need to get things moving, right? We need to create more space in our body and in our days. And what does that represent as? Fire element, air, and ether. So if you have a kapha imbalance, you need to bring more of the air, the ether, and the fire element. Think about, you're probably already naturally doing this. Maybe you were thinking, I want to be inspired by something again. So you just follow your curiosity. Maybe that was picking up a new book. Maybe that was going to a comedy show with a friend the other night. But you just need to get some spark of inspiration back into your body again. If you tend to hold on to your emotions more as a kapha imbalance and you feel like you needed a way to release them, maybe you just opened up to a friend and you told them what you've been going through, and that felt like such a release. That is creating space for you because you are finding a way to let go of your emotions. Okay, so let's go into the Pitta Dosha. Pitta Dosha, when we're out of balance, we have too much of the fire element. And we don't want to put this fire out. We just want to tame it and keep it in control. So with the Pitta Dosha, the opposite elements that we bring in are going to be earth and water. Now the reason why we don't bring in air and ether is because air and ether, if we were to add that to a fire, it would just go crazy from one side to the next. We need stability and we need more of that nurturing and calmness that is the water element. Think about this. If you are Pitta, if you're feeling fiery, if you have burning indigestion, maybe more inflammation, lots of bowel movements, you're feeling overworked, you're feeling more frustrated and critical and judgmental, what do you do in those type of moments? You need to find calmness. You need to find more ease in your day, more flow. That is the water element. That is bringing more love and compassion to yourself. And you also need more stability, more time for you, and you need to structure that. Most of the time, Pittas need to plan self-care into their day. Otherwise, they will just work the whole entire day. So earth and water are key for Pittas. Now for Vatas. You have too much of the air and ether element to you. That's scatterbrain, controlled by anxiety, insomnia, constipation, dryness, bloating, and gas. How do we bring balance to the Vata dosha? Well, think about it. When you're anxious, what do? You need organization. You need structure. That's the earth element. You also need warmth. You need movement. You need to get out of the same loop patterns that you're doing. Just because you are anxious and you feel like everything's changing all the time doesn't mean that you are not still stuck in the same habits that are not fruitful for you. That is the fire element. So for Vatas, you need the earth element, the fire element, and the water element. Something to ground you, to nourish you, and to inspire you again. And you probably were already doing that because when you're Vatas, you need to ground down. Maybe you sought out meditation. Maybe you sought out having a yoga practice, something that was warming and grounding for you at the same time. So, first thing, takeaways, I would love for everyone to write down how they already are intuitively bringing their dosha back into balance, because I guarantee you, you've already been doing at least something of how you are bringing this element into your body. Now, the second thing, I want you to come up with a ritual of how you can bring this element into your life. And these can be really simple. In our first episode talking about the elements, we just talked about how you can connect with nature. I recommend listening to that episode because truly we are a mirror of nature, and Ayurveda is all about getting back into balance with nature. And I want you to come up with your intuitive recommendation. And yes, of course, I can have a billion recommendations that I can give you, but the whole purpose of Ayurveda and the way that we teach at Soulful is to empower you to create your own magic so that you don't need us, that we can give you this information and you can start healing and feeling alive in your body. So I also want to see these in the comments. I want to see what your recommendation is that you took on to heal your Kapha, Pitta, or Vata dosha and balance. And hang tight, we're going to go into so many other recommendations in the later episodes. Coming episodes, we're going to talk about how you can heal your digestive system without changing what you're eating, but changing how you're eating, the most important foundation to healing your digestive imbalances in Ayurveda. We're also going to get into diet, what foods you should eat for your dosha, what movement is best for you, and what lifestyle practices is best for your doshic imbalance. So stay tuned.